You ever wake up from a nap, stretch dramatically on your human's laptop, and hear them say something wild like, "The Fed is printing money again?" No idea what it meant, but the panic in their voice made me pause mid-yawn. And that's saying something. So I did what any curious cat would do. I ignored them. But then I started thinking, printing money? Like, with a printer?
Yeah, why?
Are humans just running their economy off office jet ink cartridges now? And more importantly, can I print tuna? Yep, just printing money, like it's cat coupons, like it's totally fine, like it's not a recipe for economic chaos. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, the government can just print more money? Why not solve poverty that way? Why not make everyone a millionaire?
No.
That's adorable, but also incredibly dangerous. And as a cat who once knocked over a bag of kibble thinking it would feed me forever, only to realize I couldn't eat a whole 20 pounds before it went stale, I feel uniquely qualified to explain this. So, let's start with what printing money actually means. Because spoiler alert, it's not always literal printing. Most of the time, money is created digitally. It's just numbers added to an account. Like when my human checks her banking app and magically sees a tax refund. Boom, new digits, no ink involved. But the phrase still holds power because the effect is the same. More money enters the system. And here's where things get spicy. Money is not just green paper with dead presidents. It's a measuring stick. It tells us what things are worth. When you add more of it into the system without adding more stuff to buy, more goods, more services, you're stretching the measuring stick. Imagine if I told you your can of tuna was now worth $2 instead of $1. But nothing changed about the tuna. It's still the same salty, glorious can. Only now, you need more money to get the same fish. That's inflation. And printing money too fast is one of the fastest ways to make inflation go absolutely bonkers. Let's do a little time travel. Cue dramatic music. Flashback to Germany in the 1920s. After World War I, the German government printed so much money to pay off debts that people ended up needing literal wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Kids played with stacks of bills like they were Lego bricks. People used paper money as wallpaper, as firewood, because it was cheaper to burn than actual firewood. That's what happens when you flood an economy with new money that's not backed by increased productivity. My human tried this once. She gave me 20 treats in one go. I thought I'd won the feline lottery. But guess what? After the 5th treat, I wasn't excited anymore. I was suspicious and a little nauseous. Value only matters if there's scarcity. If everyone's a millionaire, then nobody really is. So why do governments print money at all? Here's where it gets sneaky. In times of crisis, like recessions, pandemics, or financial meltdowns, the government sometimes needs to stimulate the economy. When people stop spending, businesses stop making money, jobs get cut, and the cycle spirals. One tool they use is called quantitative easing. It sounds like a yoga move, but it's not. It's when the central bank, like the Federal Reserve in the US, buys government bonds and other assets, pumping money into the financial system. Basically, they create money out of thin air, use it to buy stuff from banks, and now those banks have more money to lend. The hope is that with more money circulating, people will spend, invest, and keep the economic engine running. Sounds good, right? Here's the catch. It only works if people actually spend that money. If they hoard it, or if it all goes into stocks and not real goods, then the real economy doesn't benefit. It's like pouring water into a sponge that's already soaked. It doesn't help. It just sits there, soggy and weird. Let's take the 2020 pandemic. The US government sent out stimulus checks. Unemployment benefits increased. The Fed lowered interest rates and yes, printed money. At first, people spent, then some saved. Then inflation started creeping in, slowly, sneakily, like me stalking a mouse-shaped toy from under the couch. And by 2022, inflation had gone full gremlin. Groceries cost more. Gas shot up. Rent skyrocketed. People panicked. Now, was printing money the only cause? Nope. There were supply chain issues, energy problems, labor shortages, but printing trillions of dollars definitely threw fuel on the fire. So let's go back to the idea of just printing money to pay off government debt. Some people say, why not? The government owes dollars. It can print dollars. Here's the thing. If investors think the government will solve debt problems by printing money instead of collecting taxes or cutting spending, they'll lose faith. They'll demand higher interest rates. They might even stop lending, or they'll only lend in other currencies. Confidence matters. Currency is just paper if people don't trust it. Let me give you a cat analogy. If my human keeps refilling my bowl with treats every hour, I start expecting it. Then she skips a refill. Now I'm confused, angry, and knocking over her coffee mug in protest. She created a habit she can't sustain. That's what printing too much money can do. It builds expectations that the system can't keep up with. Now let's take a detour to modern monetary theory, or MMT. This is a school of thought that says governments that control their own currency like the US can never run out of money. They can always print more. The limit isn't money, it's inflation. So as long as there's no inflation, print away. Some people love this. Others call it economic blasphemy. Personally, I think it's like giving a cat unlimited tuna and saying, we'll stop when you get too fat. By the time I look like a furry beach ball, it's too late. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Printing money isn't inherently evil, but it's not a free lunch either. And that brings us to cat toys. Let's say my human has 10 catnip mice. She gives me one every day. I love love them. I guard them. I hide them under the fridge. Now she buys 100 new ones and dumps them all on the floor. At first, I go wild. But then, I get bored. I bat a few around, then ignore the rest. The value of each mouse drops because there are too many. That's money printing. Too much, too fast, and the value evaporates. And guess what? It doesn't just hurt savers. It hurts workers too. If your wages don't rise with inflation, you're working more but affording less. Like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you're stuck in socks. Alright, I can sense your brain overheating. So let's simplify. Printing money is like giving a cat treats. Small amounts, in emergencies, helpful. Keep spirits up, but dump the whole bag too often and suddenly nothing has value. And your floor is a crunchy mess. Governments have to balance. Grow the economy without overfeeding it. Stimulate without saturating. That's hard, especially when voters want instant results. But money is not magic, and neither is printing it. In the end, the goal is stability. Predictable prices. Trust in the system. Enough tuna to go around, but not so much that no one wants it. So the next time someone says, "Why can't we just print more money?" you, my friend, can lean back, channel your inner feline, and say, because that's how you end up with a wheelbarrow full of useless paper, a gallon of milk that costs $50, and a society that suddenly remembers bartering was a thing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go shred some napkins and act surprised when I get caught. That's my kind of stimulus. But before I curl up for my 10th nap of the day, let me leave you with this. Printing money is like letting the laser pointer run wild. It's thrilling, chaotic, and gets everyone excited. But if there's no real toy at the end of the chase, you're left with frustrated cats and scratched up furniture. A healthy economy is about balance. You want just enough currency to keep things moving, not so little that everyone hoards, not so much that prices go bananas. That balance is delicate.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
And printing money is like messing with the thermostat. A little tweak can warm the room. Crank it too hard and the house catches fire. And don't forget the international ripple effect. When the US prints money, other countries holding dollars see their value shift. Imports get more expensive. Global trade trembles. Suddenly, a cat in Canada is paying more for imported salmon. And let me tell you, that is an international emergency. Printing money touches everything. Rent, groceries, wages, interest rates, investment returns. It decides whether your paycheck feels like a king's feast or a handful of stale kibble. So the next time you hear news about the Fed printing money, don't just shrug and scroll. That abstract policy decision, it might be the reason oat milk is suddenly $7, or why your landlord just raised the rent again. It's easy to blame greedy corporations or clumsy politicians, but behind a lot of price spikes and market weirdness is this quiet, powerful thing called monetary policy. And at the center of that, printing money. Use it right and it's a safety net. Abuse it and it's an accelerant. Alright, now I really have to nap. My human's on another Zoom call and that keyboard is calling my name. But hey, keep an eye on the printers, because when they start whirring, your wallet might start shrinking. And if the world ever starts handing out free tuna to everyone, just remember, there's no such thing as free lunch, especially not for cats. Curling up now, wake me when the Fed pauses rates.